The metallic taste of blood filled Damien's mouth as he stared down the snarling beast before him. His makeshift weapon, a rusted pike he'd found in the debris, trembled in his grip. The creature's yellow eyes gleamed with predatory hunger, its massive claws scraping against the concrete floor of the abandoned warehouse. "I need to survive," Damien whispered, the words becoming his lifeline in this nightmare. His body screamed in agony from countless wounds, but his mind held on to one simple truth: survive, survive, survive. The beast lunged forward with terrifying speed. Damien barely managed to roll aside, feeling the wind from its claws brush past his face. He swung the pipe with desperate force, connecting with the creature's flank. The impact sent vibrations up his arms, but the beast barely flinched. His weapon shattered on the next strike. Panic flooded through him as the broken metal clattered to the ground. The beast circled him now, sensing his vulnerability. Damien's breathing came in ragged gasps, his vision blurring from blood loss. But something primal awakened within him, something that refused to accept death. When the creature pounced again, Damien didn't retreat. Instead, he threw himself forward, wrapping his arms around the beast's neck. His teeth found flesh, and he bit down with savage desperation. The creature howled and thrashed, but Damien held on, clawing and tearing with his bare hands. The fight became a blur of violence and determination. Every fiber of his being focused on one goal: survival. When the beast finally collapsed beneath him, Damien lay gasping on top of its still form, barely conscious. A soft chime echoed in his mind, followed by glowing text that appeared before his eyes. "Level up! First class obtained!" Damien's lips curved into a weak smile as darkness claimed him. I survived." 5 days earlier, the sterile smell of disinfectant filled Damien's nostrils as he sat beside his mother's hospital bed. The steady beep of machines monitoring her vital signs had become the soundtrack of his life for the past 6 years. Her face, peaceful in its eternal sleep, showed no signs of the vibrant woman who had raised him alone. "Mom, it's been 6 years since the world changed, but I'm still okay," he whispered, taking her cold hand in his. "You don't have to worry about anything. Your son will make sure you can wake up and enjoy this new world as well. Just please, fight on and stay alive." The world awakening had transformed everything overnight. Mana had flooded the earth, bringing with it mysterious gates, status screens, and abilities that defied logic. But it had also left millions in comas, including his mother. The doctors called it mana syndrome, a condition they still barely understood. Damien pulled up his status screen with a thought, the translucent display materializing before him. Level 5, 0 out of 100 experience points. His stats stared back at him like a cruel joke. Strength 3, Agility 5, Defense 2, Intelligence 3, Dexterity 5. His magic power sat at 20, the only respectable number in the bunch. His skills were equally disappointing. Short-distance teleportation level 1 could move him a mere 10 meters. Minor telekinesis level 1 could barely lift a pencil. Minor regeneration level 1 healed paper cuts at a snail's pace. For someone trying to make a living as a hunter, these abilities were practically useless. The worst part was his title, Void Physique. What should have been a blessing instead drained his physical strength into magic power, keeping him perpetually weak no matter how hard he trained. 6 years of effort, and he remained stuck at the bottom of the hunter hierarchy.
A nurse entered the room, her expression sympathetic but professional. "Sir, we need to take care of the patient now, so we would appreciate it if you could wait outside for a few moments." Damien nodded and stepped into the hallway, his mind racing with familiar worries. The medical bills were crushing him. Thousands of dollars every month for treatments that showed no progress. His last raid had barely covered half the cost, and finding another team willing to take on a level 5 hunter was becoming impossible. If I don't manage to join another raid in the next week, I probably won't be able to afford to continue paying Mom's medical bills, he muttered to himself, running a hand through his disheveled hair. No, I have to. No matter what, I won't stop paying those. Even if I have to move out of my apartment and live on the streets for a while, I still have to pay her bills. The weight of responsibility pressed down on his 17-year-old shoulders like a mountain. While other kids his age worried about college or dating, he carried the burden of keeping his mother alive in a world that had forgotten how to be kind to the weak. What am I even supposed to do with these weak stats? All my problems could be solved easily if I could just get stronger, but my physique seems to be stuck at this pathetic level no matter how much I try to improve. He leaned against the wall, exhaustion seeping into his bones. Seriously, it would be nice if I had some plot armor or something. At least that would randomly give me a way to cure Mom, and then why would I need to care about being a hunter? I could just live the peaceful life an ordinary citizen with terrible luck like me should be living. When the nurse finished, Damien returned to his mother's side. He studied her face, searching for any sign of awareness, any hint that she might be fighting to return to him. The machines continued their monotonous rhythm, marking time in a world that had moved on without her. Don't worry about this useless son of yours, Mother. All you need to do is keep living. I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you, and I'm sorry your son is so thin that he probably won't be able to get a girlfriend before you wake up. He squeezed her hand gently, feeling the familiar ache in his chest that came with these one-sided conversations. But beneath the pain, something stronger burned, a determination that had kept him going through 6 years of struggle and would carry him through whatever came next. One day, this son of yours will stand at the top of the world and make sure you can live any life you desire. I don't care how long it takes or what I have to sacrifice. I'll find a way to wake you up, and when I do, you'll be proud of the man I've become. The afternoon sun streamed through the hospital windows as Damien finally prepared to leave. He kissed his mother's forehead, a ritual that had become sacred to him over the years. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new raids to attempt, new rejections from teams who saw his stats and laughed. But he would keep fighting. For her, for the promise he'd made, for the hope that somewhere in the darkness of her coma, she could hear him and know that her son would never give up. As he walked through the hospital corridors towards the exit, Damien's mind was already planning his next move. He needed to find work, any work that would pay enough to cover the bills. Maybe there was a team desperate enough to take on dead weight, or perhaps he could find solo work clearing low-level gates.
The automatic doors slid open, and he stepped into the Los Angeles afternoon. The city bustled with life, hunters and civilians alike going about their business in this strange new world. Somewhere out there was his future, waiting to be claimed. He had taken only a few steps when someone called his name. Damien! Before he could turn around, something heavy slammed into him from behind, sending him tumbling to the ground. As consciousness faded, his last thought was of his mother and the promise he still had to keep. The cycle was about to begin again.